Okay, we're live. All right. The red light's on, the meter's going back and forth. I see me. I got headphones on. All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Verde Arbusto, and this is the Schumann Resonance Harmonics channel on YouTube and Facebook. They're supposed to work together. They don't really, sort of. They sort of do, kind of whatever. And I also have a web page. There's a WordPress blog for the sharing. The Facebook page is group is private. Um, and so come on over. Give me a reason why you want to come in. It's more. I don't use the question, the introductory question, really to decline people. It's just on my part, it's a survey, public service survey uh, on why you're there. I'm just want to know. There's some reasons that people give that are just like, no, you're not a good fit here. But it's mainly if people don't give any answer at all of why they're there, just something more than one word, something more than interested, like I'd want to have, part of it too is I want to have good, solid, constructive people that are in the group. I want there to be good conversation and not, you know, bots. So that's why one of the ways of making sure you get good conversation is to ask an intelligent, at least one intelligent question of people when they're coming into the group. All right. So, with that said, I also have the Patreon. Excuse me. I have the Patreon account that I do a lot of stuff with. Before I go on any further, I'm wearing this shirt because it was a gift from someone at the meeting today. They kind of left it on my bike, and so I wanted to wear that as a thank you. I'm not sure. I have an idea who it is. The name of the group is Breakfast with Bill, and there's actually like eight, maybe 10 Bills that are go there, and a William, a couple, I think there's at least one William. Uh, and so it's hard to know which one of the Bills it was, but chances are, it's like you throw a dart at someone in the meeting. There's a 1 in 10 chance you're hitting a Bill. Uh, and on some days it's a little greater than that. Great meeting. So it's my home group. So I'll have to give a story on that sometime. But anyway, so it was a present from someone at the meeting. And some of the guys there, my support people, know I do the YouTube channel, and they've come over and try to follow along, and it's difficult for them, but I'm always willing to answer any questions. All right, so anyway, uh, this is again, I'm Verte Arbusto. Thank you for being here. If you're new, welcome. Please remember to like, share, comment, subscribe, and if it's not too much trouble, hit the notification bell thingy dingy, and select all, or you will likely to get no notifications. That's just simply the either or, all or nothing fuzzy logic of the YouTube algorithm, the mainframe AI algorithm. And go like other people's comments and comment on other comments and comment on your own comments. It all helps the algorithm. And in the beginning, I explained why and wherefore. What helps what. The comments help us. The likes help you to get the information. Get the what do you call it? The notifications. Right. You want to get all the notifications you can. Um, and just go over and say hi to the channel if you haven't been over for a while. We appreciate it. 4:20. Yeah, I just looked at the time running in 4:20, which is a good reminder. So give love to the channel that your favorite channel. Come on over early and often, and just check to make sure. If you haven't gotten notifications in a while, maybe it's not necessarily me. There's a lot of in between space of when I do videos, so chances are, if you haven't gotten a notification from me in a while, it's because I haven't done a video in a while. But I also post. I also, just some of you know and some of you don't know. More of you don't know, actually, because I get so few comments and likes on it. But I also make use of the community posts. As a content provider, YouTuber, I can I can make videos and I can make posts. I can post in the community section, which I do some wacky, fun stuff in there. I give you. I will sometimes do a oh, I don't want to call it a premiere of a premiere, or an advertisement, but sometimes I do. I use that communities tab to make mention of videos that are in the works, and others of them are other posts that I've done have been linking to other YouTube channels. And I like doing fun stuff with that. That's not necessarily Schumann Resonances. It's just community. It's I use that as a at ease sort of platform for me, that this is me in my off hours. Some of the stuff I'm not making a video of, right? There's a few things, like I said, I make a little advertisement or marketing or whatever of a video I'm doing soon, but a lot of it is more me not a video you'll ever see. And so I like that being, it's sort of my go-to on the community. Is it's not necessarily an advertisement of a video I'm doing, but something of someone else, right? A share, like that kind of a thing. And hopefully it'll come back to me by other people doing that with my work as well. All right, so this is the fourth and final, oh my God, part of the this particular video. Is from the 24th, 25th. The 22nd is when it first started, and I did the script. I finalized the script on the 25th of April. And so, as I've mentioned before, those of you who've been around long enough know this, that the date in the title starts out being it starts when I do it, right? And so the different iterations, the different versions of it have different dates because it's changing. It's ever, it's if I'm doing a video on it, a lot of the stuff I go back to it, um, uh, you know, and so I'm the deep dive guy. I do, my stuff takes a while to uh, kind of finalize. And so what happens is what starts as the date I'm working on it just becomes the title of it for convenience, and not necessarily because it's I'm still working on the material from there. It's there's a month's worth of material here that I'm kind of accumulating. We're starting to get into a month's worth of material. And I'm going to, speaking of which, I'm also going to give you I call this current conditions. I'm going to give you the current conditions of the current conditions, like as in today's current conditions, and not just the current conditions of 3 weeks ago of this video. My once again, the principles that I give you are for you to understand how this is put together, how to read this, how to understand the data that's here. How technical, the technical principles I give don't change, from a week ago or to, unless there's some new information or something. But the foundations of the principles of this have been the same since I was doing radio when I was 12 or 13, 15, all that kind of stuff. Um, so, um, so this is the current conditions, like I said, and current as in now conditions, and I think it's important to understand that. Um, I I've one of the one of the things that I like doing are the videos where you can see the flat line, and that's what this one is, and that's why it's important to, at the time it was important to do that and see that, and it's important now. In the next video, I'm sorry, the next image I have of the 24th to I think the 25th and 26th, uh, that becomes it's important to see. So So what could be, I think, maybe a 15-minute video is probably going to be drawn out to about an hour, if not more, because this is a Aaron mix, new Aaron. This video started as a reason to play the Aaron mix, right? I got four of them. I got four of them in March, the end of March. I was like, oh, I was got to do a video. So in the end of April, I said I'm gonna do a video for the new Aaron mixes. So I played one new Aaron mix, one old Aaron mix, and so this is one of the new of the bunch Aaron mix. This is from the 26th. All right. So I'm going to play some music now. This is a really good mix. I'm going to play like 10 minutes worth, I think. Uh, because the greater reality is I got to do this. I got to finish this. It was relevant then. It's relevant now. But honest to goodness, I mostly I don't want to do. I don't honestly. I don't really want to do a video. I don't want to do this, but I got to finish it. So those are the videos. I just play a lot of music, and it's like I'm a DJ, and this is me like Harry. The song "Flying in My Taxi." Um, she was going to be an actress, and I was going to be a astronaut or pilot, and I'm flying in my taxi. Harry Chapin. I forget what the name of that song is. Anyway, um, so that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna fly in my little DJ capsule, have a smoke, have a drink, have a whatever, because I'm going to. And I will meet you on the other side. And there was something lingering that I was supposed to reconnect back on that I didn't, but I don't know, whatever, it doesn't matter. I will meet you on the other side. And here's some music. Jacqueline, get off the table. Okay. It's a lap dance and a table dance. Thank you. And put your shoes back on. All right. This is a good mix. All right. All right. Hold on. I got to keep track of that. Okay. Red lights on. Meters blinking back and forth. Peeking in the red. Get my Beatles shirt on. If I didn't get this as a present, I would have liked getting this as a present because I tremendously like the Beatles indeed. I heard them on AM radio. In my grandmother's Plymouth Scamp. Uh, on AM radio, I remember AM. I listened to AM radio. Yeah. 640 out of New York, 770. Yeah, AM. Mono. That's the way the Beatles should be played. I have to say, honestly, on a good mono system. It can't say that of bands these days. Uh, anyway, all right. So this is current conditions, and I'm also going to take you on a journey of the today's current. See here, 9 today. This is actually the 9th of May. As I'm doing this, I'm no longer in April, and this is an old ass post. So, it's important to give, when I say the current conditions, like it's, the current, but I had want to show you at the time, it was something at that time that was important enough for me to want to do a video of this, of the not just the peaks and all of it that I've explained, but there's another thing relative to the graphs and the scaling nature of the graphs, which is more in the technology itself. And I pointed this out before in various things, but how the machine scales this, and by machine I mean the spectrogram, and by scaling it, I mean plotting, plotting, plotting it into the available space that the machine uses. The machine is hardware. It's not going to make itself bigger and smaller. It can't do that. That's not physically possible. And I had someone in the comments ask, why not? Why can't they do that? I I didn't know how to respond to that other than how could they? Right? Literally, how could they do that? Right? The case and everything, so it gets bigger and smaller. Like I don't think she really truly understood what she was saying, what she was suggesting, and furthermore how it would be done because she didn't have any idea how you do that, and she doesn't even know how the spectrogram actually works. So like anyway, so this is part of the mission here is to explain not just the Schumann resonances as read through the machinery, but also to explain how the spectrogram works in general, and how antennas work in general, and how radio antennas work, and how radio waves work functionally, traditionally, how I've been trained, how I've been taught, right? Without going into the superficial jargon of the ascensionists and the Schumannites who believe that ascension is just automatic, just through being alive. You'll just boop, you'll ascend to what? And I don't know. Your light body, they don't know what that means. Anyway, so and so that's why I do this. And so to help also explain that the whiteout condition, that big patch of white that's there is not ascension energy. It's not a whiteout on the, like it's important for you to understand how this works of itself, how it's designed, how it's properly designed, what it's designed for, what its limitations are, what its constraints are, and that way you have a good handle on understanding when they throw these phrases out at you, such as the ascension-based phrases and the ascension energies and 5D gamma, blah, 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 the Disney wishful thinking version, so that you will be, you know, forearmed is, forewarned is forearmed, as they say. You will have the proper tools, proper principles guiding you to understand properly how the technology itself works from someone with a bunch of years of experience in this, in the technology, in AM, FM radio, and all of that, properly speaking, okay, with actual university and college training and uh, um, technical vocational training in uh, networking, um, computer repair and spectrogram, electronics. I've taken electronics as a course, and in the tech, right? And the vocational. Like, there's just a lot of, from this is my decade of technical training and lived experience using that, and of my own personal likes and what I like doing. I prefer the radio to people. I'd rather play with the radio than play with a person, whatever. However, right, just because the videos are fairly technical, I can say, oh, good, I'll do a video, and I can play with the machine, and it's more about the machine than the person, and you listening to it and watching it, right? I don't have to be so concerned about you. This is the machinery. This is the studio. I'm working in the studio, right? So, um, uh, so I have a lot of experience in this. I'm currently doing it, right? Um, Making videos, blah, blah, blah. So in addition to all of that, I also have the lived experience of having finished my contract and having gone through all this ascension stuff myself. So I know what's what relative to that. All right. So I know what doesn't belong in the mix of the first one because I know what the second one is. And there the twain shall meet because they're two different polarities, like AC versus DC, or charge versus current, or they're fine subsystems of themselves, but they're not, they don't intermingle. The Schumann resonances and the ascension based energies as you understand them. And if you don't understand them, that's fine. You don't need to. Or if you understand them in a completely different way, that's fine and fine and dandy, fine indeed, and in dandy. Please leave it in the comments. Make sure to mention something, talk in the comments about it. When I do the premiere, this is probably going to be a premiere, feel free to leave the comments and let me know what you think of this, So, uh, practical, this is my own understanding here, right, of how this ascension thing is working here, supposed to work here. Finish your contract, that's, like that's, then you can talk about ascending. But if you haven't, finished your contract, then you're still a worker. You're not anything special. And if you have finished your contract and you have ascended, you're still not anything special. You got work to do. Get to work, right? All right. So this is part of what, um, from my experience, talking about this, the Schumann resonances and all of this, the whiteout is not a substitute for the hard work, your hard work that needs to be done. It's not clearing out your stuff for you. It's important to understand that. None of these peaks, none of these spikes are clearing out your hardcore clearing that you're supposed to be done in order to move forward. And part of the contract is part of the all of us, can't say what yours is, but I know if it's true for me, I know it's true for other people. Part of the clearing of the contract is you have to clear out a lot of the emotional baggage and everything that's keeping your energy channels blocked. I think that's the best way to put it. That's keep like dirty terminals that's keeping you from being grounded properly. So this is a hard concept for a lot of people to keep themselves kind of in check by or in check with, is that type of a thing that a person you need to release the 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 hurtful damaging emotional blockages that you have so that you can move on to the next step, right? And there's not a hop, skip, jump, dance maneuver that you can bullshit your head with that substitutes for that work that includes any and all of those whiteouts. They're not helping you as you think they are. They're causing your brain to be on fire, if anything. If they are existing in your neck of the woods, as they are the same in Tomsk, I don't know that. We don't know that. Okay. But assuming that, all right, something happened, solar burst, boom, okay. Uh the solar forcing causes the upper ionosphere to come down to you, okay? So that excess atmosphere, that's excess voltage in the atmosphere, the local atmosphere floating around, all right, uh, that causes a lot of the higher brain activity that when they talk about rising frequencies, higher brain frequencies, that's what is operating in the higher mind, is the disconnect from the body and the earth and the body suit. It's the separation into the imagined, right? It's no longer the lived experience. Once you get into the uh, cerebrum range, the 40 to 100 hertz brain frequency, like you're now off your rocker. Okay, unless you are a deep, profound thinker and you can anchor that with facts and data and research, and you have some grounding that's able to be, tether you here in the body, you're off. All right, just off your rocker, off your hinges. You're a flake. Just know that and understand that. Unless you're properly able to be grounded through your feet, essentially, you know, like walking barefoot is a good way to do that. Walking barefoot in the water is a good way to keep yourself grounded on those very heavy electric days. That's, the higher brain frequency is what takes people out. It literally takes you out, takes you out of your body. Uh, and if you have routines that you can, kind of channel that and focus that, I talk about when they say, oh, it's all energy. Yes, but. Right? Yes, but. There is potentiated and unpotentiated, potential and unpotential, right? There is the formed and the unformed. There is what is potential to be had. There is the potential that you could potentially have. Then there is what is actualized, what can actualize, what you can vocalize, the forms, the shapes. Right? This is really important to understand the difference between the let's talk about energy. It's all energy, all frequency. yeah, but right? There's that's like the higher mind will just turn everything abstract and not have it grounded anywhere, so that like yeah, it's all energy, but what ah, what does that mean, right? Ground that here, make that useful, make that practical, right? A lot of people think the spiritual life or a spiritual life, living an etheric technician, if you may, living that the spiritual etheric kind of life of living by those principles is some la di da, woo woo kind of affair. But I assure you, the spiritual principles are the most practical things on the face of the planet. Right? It's the underpinning of what makes the reality real. And without, for me, just me, without knowing the principle behind the facts, how did you get the facts? How did you get this information, the data, right? The research, all of that. How does it work? It's what I want to know. How did you get your results? All of this. Uh, Without that, it's it's again, it's unhinged. There's not a there. It's all imaginary. And until you, right, that's the uh, high energy, high frequency whiteout condition days. All right, is where you're not, it's the it's all energy day, and you're a, a, a mess, a complete and total mess, because you're not able to focus, you're not able to keep grounded, keep centered, have your energy channels centered and kind of going like this way. It, there's a mess around you that you're trying to organize into a life, and it's like sand slipping through your fingers. It's like, I think that's the best way to kind of put it. Like everything's just a hot mess, and you're not making it any, your contributions into on these, these days. That's what, the these whiteout, quote unquote, whiteout days are, is it's not ascension energy. It's a different thing altogether. And I call those symptoms the assimilation symptoms. They're not ascension symptoms, they're assimilation symptoms. All right. So, all right, I should probably play some music and then uh do some more of this, go into this. Because honestly, like I just gave a bunch of stuff. It's not even on the target. It's an intro. That's my introduction, I guess. But on the other hand of it, it's important to know this, right? It's not, I'm making light of it, but this is why a lot of people come over here, is because of this ascension stuff and how does it relate in here? And it's like, I don't normally talk about, like Schumann resonances and ascension unless it's to challenge something or combat or whatever. But like, I'm integrally uh interweaving it in there. Like, yeah, this is, you came over here for ascension stuff. That's how this fits in, and that's just kind of the tip of the iceberg, and that's just a little bit of it, the most basic of this that I can make it, and it's still probably maybe more advanced than the average person's ready for. Um, but we talk about what that the whiteout. This was the last thing I was talking about up here, the whiteout conditions, right? And that's important to know because the latest, right? This right here, the latest is more whiteout conditions. That's what they call. That's what they would call this whiteout condition. Right? Up to 56. Oh my God! See these peaks, these spikes. It's important to know again what you're looking at when you're looking at this, right? And so I'm not, I I'm not doing this to tell you how it should make you feel, right? I just did that sort of. I didn't mean to. I wasn't doing that. I didn't mean it to do that, but that's sort of what, you know, like that's sort of what the like I'm not here this isn't a medical thing. I'm not here to talk about the biologically how it's affecting you and all of that. That's not what my role is. I don't do that. People in the comments do that. They talk about it, right? I'm not here for that. Don't ask me my opinion. If you want to talk about it of your own, that's fine. You can talk about it. Okay. However, there are things that I do know relative to, like I said, again, I've always said this from the beginning, you as a component in the electric circuit, the geoelectric circuit. Okay. That's the perspective I look at this from. All right. So when I talk about this and I give these observations, I'm not there telling you this isn't from the ascension perspective. It's not the Schumannite thing. This isn't some pseudoscience. This is me reading to you what the graphs say and showing you pound for pound, inch for inch, as it were, what it is that you're looking at in the visual aid relative to logically, what the explanation is in words, right? You have a big picture that, people interpret the spectrogram, and they don't have any technical experience in having done so in a professional or learning capacity. And so they just read the spectrogram and come up with all kinds of crazy shit. So this is me giving you the technical explanation, the technical expertise on this, so that you yourself can learn, how to read these things from the technical aspect. And you can ask me more technically based questions once you kind of get up on the vocabulary. And the vocabulary is a lot coming into this, and the concepts behind the vocabulary, that's really important to understand, So again, the main reason I'm doing these is to try and explain and give to people what the real true explanation behind the whiteout is, that it's not ascension energy 5D, it's not gamma, because first off, the antennas don't measure that. I've said that, but above, okay, they don't measure that. That's not what they're there for. That's not what their range is. You can't pick up AM on FM and vice versa. And the Schumann resonances aren't even in the kilo or mega. They're in the pico, which is the negative. They're way lower and more subtle. Okay. Uh, and so it's important to know um, that properly how the radio works, how the radio waves work, how the antennas work. Okay. So it's important to understand the what you're looking at. All right. I think what I'm going to do is I've kind of given enough of an introduction and going on and on enough. Y'all deserve some music, I think. This is a really good mix. And I kind of skipped the first 10 minutes of it. But like it's y'all got to hear this. And like I said, I just want to kind of this just a shoot the shit video, as it were. Shoot the shoot, something like that. If you got a coffee brewing, why don't you go and get it and get your coffee brewing? Like I said, this was going to be a long video because I'm just going to play a bunch of music, and just have a good time. Not everyone likes the music. The music makes these a long video. I recognize that. And that's why I put the time code in there. It's important to keep track of the time code. So you can kind of skip to the meat and the bones. And when I do these, I think it's important to understand people come in late. So I have, I have these long ass introductions for the premieres, right? And so if you've seen, like it's kind of for the community, okay? I ramble on, and sometimes I get lost, but it's partially because when I set these, like a lot of people come in an hour, right, late, almost at the end of it. That happens regularly. They don't get the messages, notifications. I notify a few people, so it's like, it's part of why I do this, the method to the madness. And so it's like, after the video has been out, like, oh wow, it's just a long introduction, like, all right, we'll skip through this. Once you've heard the introduction, it's enough. Although sometimes in the introduction I do put some useful informational stuff in there, right? I am an informational guy. I do know a bunch of stuff, and so some people go through everything, the introduction, all of it, a few times, because I sometimes, it's like hitting a dartboard random, like, oh hey, yeah, the bullseye right in the middle, okay, yeah, I'm sort of good, I didn't know I'm that good, yeah, yeah. People get triggered on stuff or whatever, pseudo triggered or so. So that's why I do the kind of the preface and then the introduction, right? It's a script. Like I said, I got it built into the script, preface, the introduction, the disclaimers, all of this, like just because sometimes it takes the notifications a while. And hopefully you don't mind sitting with me. I'm doing this here. You all get my respect, my love, my admiration, even though I'm low resolution, low quality video here, you have a high quality uh, video from my heart, if you will. For those of you who are here, like I said, there's 10 of you that, have my uh, undying gratitude for being here. Thank you. Um, and the rest of you, I appreciate it almost as much. I'll say. It's nice to hear from everyone. That especially people I haven't heard from in a while. That you're still around. Oh yeah, hey, thank you. I'll throw you back up in the 10 if you're gonna post some stuff. Anyway, all right. So let's play some music. Where am I at? 40. So we'll call 47. 47. Play some music. All right. Onward and upward. It's a good place to. All right, this is a good mix. Hold on. Oh, okay. All right, let me let me get back in the driver's seat, captain's chair. Um. Oh yeah, that's I don't think I said which one. That's the spring feeling Aronmix from the 26th of March. Uh, the most recent I have. He every week he gets more stuff, and he's always mixing. So I'll go in next door and hear something new. He's hanging out with my coworker, our mutual friend, and he's always got something new playing when he comes over. Um, uh, I love Aaron. Onward and upward. All right. Okay, so I'm almost at an hour, and I think at this point I've established that I am doing a part 4 video. I think I've made it known I am doing current conditions, and I don't think I've talked once about the current conditions. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is going to show you the picture, and then read from my notes if we could. Okay, how about that? This work? Boop. All right. Okay, there we go. Bing. All right, hold please. Okay, I rearranged myself. Where was I? Um, it's like writing my name on the exam and then writing the question out. Like to answer it, I'm gonna write out the question as it's on the board. So I've spent an hour just checking my exam book, writing out the question. Yeah, I am here in the essay hall taking this essay, which is blah blah blah. All right, oh, time to start. Oh, all right. So yeah, there you have it. All right. So the current conditions. This is. Wait, hold on. I gotta like this. Bam. I gotta like that. All right. So I like this. All right. This is from again. This is from the my Facebook group, the Schumann Resonances and other atmospheric electromagnetics. I'm Verdi Arbusto. I'm a hot freaking mess right now. And I thank you for being here. It's Monday the 9th. It's like 9:12 p.m. Eastern time, my time. So all right. All right, so the 22nd, we're talking about, I'm the deep dive guy. I do, my stuff goes weeks. I watch these stuff for weeks and weeks, and I give a running tally on them. All right, and so that's why I put up there in or down there in the description, the dates that, from the 22nd to 2 years later or some shit. Like, I do that because it's like that's how long I've been kind of processing this and watching it for, right? And I am the deep dive guy, and that's what it means. For me, that's in practice. That's part of the principles of this is to keep observing, just keep continuously observing, right? You know, maybe you'll see something fascinating. All right, so I'm going to read from my notes here, and I'll do the there. Sorry. So uh, on the 22nd, that's what this is, and there's a visual. There's the picture that goes with it. The links to the pictures on Facebook and WordPress and everything. So hopefully you'll have already kind of clicked on that and seen it, whatever. But the print it's kind of tiny here, and all right, you can't really see. I'm looking at it. And it's like, all right, it's tiny. This is the 22nd, the 23rd, and the 24th of last month, right? This is what we're doing. This is March. Uh, um, Although I think it should be April. I'm thinking, is it March? And duh. I'm spacing out. Yes, it is from April. The Aronmix is from March. Sorry, I'm getting confused. All right. So not all there. I'm here because I'm not all there. All right. So this is from April. All right. January, February, March, April. All right. The 22nd of April. We're at peaks of, we're here. This is 48.4, and this is 60 right here. This is 36. This is 25 2. This is 13 6. All right. So there, the the peak was at about 50, and then it dropped down to 37, 38, and then it, so this happened. It starts at 9 in the morning, 9 local times, 9 in the morning. Then you have 10, 11, 12. So we're talking about uh 17, 18, like 19. All right, so 19. So we're talking about, this is 10 hours, but this is the middle of the day. You got to remember that. It's kind of when we expect things to be spiking. People, a lot of times when they're looking at this, they they just assume some things, or they just naturally freak out because maybe they're prone to that, and that's a thing too, but they see the spikes and, oh, the Schumann resonances are spiking. It's like, well, the amplitude is spiking, yes, right, but that's not the Schumann resonances. The amplitude is coming from excess lightning, right? The Schumann resonances do not spike. They are not spiking. That is not what is spiking. It is amplitude bursts, amplitude in the atmosphere. It is intensity, it's power, it's decibels. It's decibels, a picoelectric volts, okay? That you got to understand what you're looking at. It's not the rising of the Schumann resonances. They didn't go crazy all of a sudden. People look at that and that's what they believe and that's what they see, but that's what this whiteout condition is. You can let me do this here. What the whiteout condition is, uh, when it shows you that, is it's the excess voltage, and that's not taking over the Schumann resonances. There's a lot of stuff that's not, that people believe that it is, because they're not trained to look at the spectrogram and understand that it's compiling two sources and coming up with a vector. It's a different vector altogether, right? It's just that's what's important to understand, for people to understand when they're looking at that's not like an ocean wave, like all of it coming in. That's not what the Schumann resonances are, right? It's you're getting this compiled picture of the Schumann resonances that are based on a compiled, a plotted, a manufactured image in the spectrogram. Right? It's important to understand that. All right. So here we are at this on the 22nd, right? We have the whole day. Okay. So we have an active day and this is lightning. You have to remember this, lightning, or atmospheric transfer from up to down, or down to up, from the earth to the ionosphere downwards. Okay. This is predominant, this is a predominant activity, with the exception of uh the 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 ionosphere, the magnetosphere, getting strong, like a sunspot activity, right? Solar, like sunspots, will cause an increase in the Schumann resonances, right? So as it goes by, right, that's during the sun solar activity, right? It's like people are frequently looking at solar bursts and all of that, and that does some stuff, yes. But there are studies, the Rhode Island Time series, for example, talks about it's evident, it's obvious, you can see it. The Schumann resonance increases, follows. That's part of the diurnal cycle, is sunspot activity. So we're having sunspot activities, and I can go over there, I think, and show you. Hold on, maybe I should. All right, so this is from currently now. This is spaceweather.news, currently.now. You can see solar stuff going on right here, directly right at us. And if you compare, see, I'm off script right now. But you compare right at the moment, see, there's nothing going on right here, right at this is the most recent one we have right here. What's it doing? All right. So, you see, okay, this we're talking about, uh, uh, this is fairly recent right here. Okay. So there should be something, but there is upticks in solar activity. Okay. There is that type of a connection with the Earth and the ionosphere that you'll see influences of it. Okay, this is at 56, but this is during the day though. You got to look. This is during the day. This is during the day. All right. You get bursts. You get stronger activity during the day. You got to remember that. All right. All right. Back on script. Back on script. All right. So um this is where we're uh pointing out that during the day, there were peaks at 50 and then 30 and then it shot up to 60. All right, and this is the decibels of pico electron volts. Okay, you got to remember that. That's how to read this. Decibels of pico electron volts. These are amplitude spikes or amplitude peaks that seen as vertical downward pointing spikes on the Schumann resonance, right? So that's them going from the top down. All right. Essentially, it's 9 to 6 p.m. Or 18 hours local time, which is the middle of the day over there. Okay. Um, that's the day into the evening. All right. And you see the same thing. That's just part of diurnal variation, as you're going to get more activity during the daytime, right? This activity is not just white mode one, but it extends across the spectrum evenly. All right. So I talk about this requited and unrequited. All right. So the white, the yellow, you look at the waveforms, the wave patterns, they're identical. All right. They're a matched set. Okay. And if you compare them, the they're not doing exactly the same thing, like word for word or pound for pound or ounce for ounce or whatever. It's not exactly the same thing from amplitude to the quality or from the electric to the magnetic, but in some cases you can see that there is a match. See, there's a spike in the red and green here. There's a spike here. All right. And there's a tiny spike there, all right, not much there in the yellow mode, all right. But across the amplitude, all the amplitudes, 1, 2, 3, 4, they all match up like a hand in glove, for the nested dolls, if you will, all right. So they all match up. Uh, so you don't see, uh, you don't see, significant uh electric to magnetic activity, and it matters because you're trying to figure out what's going on. Where is the source from? What is it? Like, there's two different antennas. You got to remember that. One is the dipole. There's no Schumann resonance antenna. There's two types of antennas. One that's used for the electric. One there's the magnetic induction coil. All right. So the magnetic induction coil is on the ground, while the electric side, the amplitude, is in the air. All right. They're physically located in different places. I mean, like one's right at the base of the other one, but the one is, I've shown you pictures, one is, like 30, 40 feet in the air, depending on where you are, and maybe more, like it's a different, like there's a difference of height between one and the other. All right, just remember that. All right. All right. So, um, uh, we expect to see, what did I say here? We expect to see little to no activity on the graph between 22 to 6 local time. So during the day. All right. It's not letting me. Hold on. There we go. That's a better picture. All right. Um, So you don't expect to see anything during the nighttime, right? I keep pointing this out. During the day, you're going to see heavier activity uh, than the nighttime, diurnal variation. All right. So you know, that's when the ionosphere goes to sleep. Essentially, it's on the other side of the sun, goes to sleep, takes a rest, right? So that's when you don't expect to see much in just those 6 to 8 hours in there. All right, just a general condition of anywhere that you're measuring these things from on Earth, right? Sun rotates, right? Except for maybe up in the Antarctic, the Arctic or Antarctic, which I forget, mix them two, but perhaps that. But that's a different. That's a different set of conditions up there altogether. So all right. So then the next day you got the 23rd and 24th flat lines, the amplitude flat lines. That's what I love showing you this so that you can see like all right, what they call a flat line, what they call a flat line is a data void. This is a essentially a flat line condition, not much going on, just a few microvolts difference, picovolts difference between one and the other. So it it's interesting to see. All right, so that's what a flat line condition is. All right, so I said this is calm electrically, so all enough of the activity is magnetic in origin, and you can see the next panel, the quality. All right, so all the activity that's happening is in the bands, right, the horizontal bands. There's not spikes like earlier, right? So I'm showing you, pointing out once again how to match up on the spectrogram. What's what? The horizontal bands are the quality, and that's this down here, right? You follow what's happening on the horizontal bands and in the quality and the frequency. Okay, quality and the frequency both go together when you're looking at the spectrogram. It's important to understand. You have two factors that go into the horizontal bands, which are the Schumann resonances. Those are the actual resonances. These are the Schumann resonances. This is the fundamental waves which propagate. Schumann resonances don't propagate. Um, frequency here is the wavelength. Okay, I've talked about this before. Frequency is wavelength measurement. Okay, from peak to peak. Okay, and you got to remember, hertz is cycles per second. Okay, frequency is peak to peak. Okay, you can remember that. Like alternating current is hertz cycles, cycle moving back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Like a piston is like a cycle, right? Goes up and down, up and down, up and down, if you will, for analogies. All right. So um frequency is peak to peak. So the peak to peak measurement down here of frequency, this is in kilometers or thousands, actually, thousands of kilometers. This is 8,000 kilometers. All right. So these are big waves. These are big waves. The lowest are the lowest of the low. You got to remember, these are zero point 0.3 to 40 hertz. Like that's the range we're talking about where the Schumann resonances are. They're hum at that frequency. All right. So all right, so it would seem to be the next couple of days would seem to be uneventful, but you see the magnetic, which is Tesla's, picoteslas, and as you have again the solar activity, sunspots, it forces this issue. It gives you, activity in the Schumann resonances, not necessarily on the electric side, but on the magnetic side, okay, which is down on the ground, okay, hugging the ground, as it were. They put the electric side up in the air because that's where that activity is up there in the air. The spectrogram is giving you a composite of both of those two antennas together. It's not one, the spectrogram is not one Schumann resonance antenna. Just please understand that. There's two different types of antennae, as I've said earlier, that give you these images. All right. So, and you see, you look at the actual number. This is 4.9, and on the quality, it's picoteslas. Okay, this is not. You see, Q. That's not Q factor. That's a different thing. It's related. The atmosphere itself is the Q factor. This is the quality because the atmosphere is the dampening is the dampener of the resonance, right? And that's the resonator. All right. This is complicated. People say, "Oh, the Q factor." This is quality, but I'll tell you that's how it fits into the how quality fits into the Q factor. Right? It's a lot to it. It's technical stuff, right? Q. Where were the Q's, right? Q's. Excuse me. Oh, XQ. XQs. I'll have to figure something then, but that can be the joke. We'll have to figure out how to work the joke in there. XQs. Uh, I used to believe the um, I used to believe that the Q meant uh, Q factors until Verde told me otherwise. That's the XQs that I used to use. Okay, we'll just call that a joke. May not be a funny one, but it can be the joke of the video. Maybe I'll polish that and make it run a little faster. Give it Polish its wheels and make it run a little faster. I'll give it some more horsepower. Okay, so frequency is peak to peak measurement in kilometers. Right? That's what this measurement is. This is not a hertz number. This is kilometers for frequency. Standard radio waves, how they measure it. Um, uh, Quality of the waves and frequency is measuring those. Right? Quality is the waves itself. The magnetics, the picotesla, and the frequency is the distance and the peaks. Again, it's all by the different modes, and I've shown you earlier what the modes were. All right. Amplitude is the electric side, which is charge, right? Plus and negative, positive and negative, plus and minus, positive and negative. The magnetics, on the other hand, are a current, which is north to south. Okay, so the magnetics have more to do, I think, with the pole shifting than the amplitude does, because the amplitude can move from the ground upwards. Yeah. Just for those of you who are following along with the pole shift and all of that, I think you're bound to see more. I just It's kind of what I'm suspecting, what I'm kind of believing, hunch that as the poles are shifting, it's going to make more difference in the magnetics than it is in the electrics and the amplitude. And furthermore, amplitude spikes are not necessarily an indication of that. Except for the fact of the lightning moving up, going from the ground up. If you can somehow separate that out, uh, qualify that somehow, quantify that, uh, maybe then, but I don't know how you're going to do that. So, video evidence, maybe, but even then, still, you don't know. Anyway, all right. So onward and upward. All right. So magnetics are current, which is north to south or east to west. It doesn't tell you here if it's north to south or east to west. It's just magnetics moving past it. All right. So the 20. Let me find this here. There we go. All right. So you can see something interesting going on here. All right. So as again, an example of scaled down, scaled. We talk about, the peaks have gone away, and so this was what we would consider the flat line activity over on the other side. You can see what hold on. All right. So essentially, you see that? I put it right there. This is pound for pound where that starts out. All right. It's right there, exactly right there where this starts is at the first, or not the first, it's at zero. So that's midnight, midnight here, and that's midnight there. All right. So you see, what you see, a little tiny spike there, a little tiny peak, little, kind of, it's like magnified. You can see that. All right. So I just want to put that up next to it. And then it's the same thing. All these other ones here, uh, see, for the 24th, it's the 23rd. All right. So you see the 24th here? All right. So this is, hold on. Oop, let me go away. All right. So I think this gives you a better idea, right? So the 20, this right here, we're at that line, that's at the next day. So the 23rd and the 24th break there. All right. So you see all of this from this point forward is that. All right. So you see all these spikes here, then you see this right here. All right. And it might be interesting. I think what I might do is make two side by side comparison of that. But I think you can see um, the difference in the spikes. How uh, once you once you see it up close, like it's just the scaling. This is just I want to give you a visual representation of the scale difference in scale based on the peaks and how everything is scaled out. So that when they say, "Oh, it's off the chart," it's like, man, it's just peaking to the edge of the chart. It's not peaking off the chart, you idiot. Maybe you won't say idiot. You can leave that for me. I'll say that. But anyway, so I want to give you that visual aid so you can see that. Um, there, it's the fine print, as it were, so you can see that. Um, and so this is the 24th to the 24th to the 26th. You have this rare, interesting chance to get to see, what's essentially a flat line up close. And so you see it's not necessarily a flat line. It just appears that way relative to the scaling that they use. I think that's the best way to put it. All right, so the spikes are all scaled to fit. I'm reading the spikes are all scaled to fit in to the available space of the hardware itself. This is a hugely difficult concept for people to realize looking at the spectrogram, observing the spikes. All right, so I'm putting them next to each other so you see, so there's a comparison. All right. Amplitude number is the first panel, right? So I'm showing you right there in the mid center. This is decibels, not frequency, and hertz. Decibels are intensity or a power rating of the free floating electrons in the air. Okay, and again, this is the lightning discharge, primarily caused by lightning discharge uh, down to up, sky to earth, or earth to sky. And there, if you also have spherics, which are sprites and elves and that stuff, right? That you will get ripples in the Schumann resonances as well. Um, so simply because there's a spike, it does not necessarily mean that it's a strong spike, FYI. All right. So depending on how far away it came from, right? If it's local, it will appear to be strong just because of its proximity, right? That's generally speaking, that's part of the disclaimer, you know. So you have to look at, right? So just looking at the spike on the spectrogram itself doesn't necessarily mean, you see, oh, it's a big spike. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's a high value, number value spike, right? Because they're all scaled to fit in. So no matter what the highest number is, it's scaled to fit into the available size of the spectrogram. All right. So you have to look at the actual numbers, which are found, right? This over here, you have to, which are found over there to the left, uh, and over on the right hand side as well, all the way over on the left and way over on the right, um, at which are found on the dependency reports, and not look at the side of the spectrogram, which is giving you the the manufactured hertz number of the resonances, not the that's not the amplitude, the comma the number on the side of the spectrogram. The amplitude reading will affect. Okay, and so I was mentioning this earlier. So that this white, um, I was talking about it in my introduction, which might seem to have been kind of far flung it off, but this is what we're talking about. The white here, okay, this is high electric floating around in the atmosphere. Okay, so that white amplitude reading will affect the thinking, heart rate perhaps, nervousness, anxiety, perhaps give you excess headache, vertigo, maybe nausea, set your head on fire, right? Just because it's an excess of electricity, electron side, uh, the positive voltage that is in the atmosphere that is at head level. Right? So it's affecting you in a way that you don't know how to deal with because you're not grounding yourself. All right. Um so I wanted to show you this and for you to compare because I thought it was interesting. I've done some interesting comparison. I pulled up the image from the next capture, so you could see. And like I said, I think maybe I'll put those side by side and have a little visual demonstration of the two because I thought at the time it was fascinating, and I might do that as well. Note to self during premiere, remind myself. All right. Um, so okay, so I think so that ends the written script, and I think what we'll do, I'll play a little bit more music, and then I will talk about the current condition and maybe the space thing. Maybe we'll go over here. Uh, get that. Is he going to show us? No, you're not going to show us. That'll show us later. All right. So let's see where. Okay. So, I think we'll play some music. Then good. We're at the end of the text, so at almost 1:30. All right. So, um, at the end of the text here. So, I'll play some music because again, I only want to play some music. Again, this would have been if I just read through the text. It would only been a 15-minute video, and maybe I'll extract that part out so no one has to suffer through the music if you don't want to. Um, I'm calling this one 30-30 here. And I'm just going to talk to the 30-30 and then we'll be proper in our count. Yeah, it's this part of being a DJ is you got to write down song. There's a song log of what you played. And maybe it's just the order of the songs, the album, the artist, and the song. But sometimes you got to write when you take like the CSA in college radio. What is it? Service public PSA. That's it. A public service announcement. You got to log in the time that you actually read or played the public service announcement. So there would be carts that you'd plug like a 15-second PSA, public service announcement, or you could read, there would be a, five that you could read so many 5-second PSAs. You could have the music playing and, over the background of the PSA, it was all good stuff. Um, so that's part of college radio is you got to learn to do the public service announcements, PSAs, um, and we'll call it 129.20, I think. All right. So, onward and upward. Time for some music. Enough babbling out of me. Uh, let's get this train rolling. Bring it up to the rig.
My rhythm is grooving, DJ wants some more.
back. Let's bring it back. All right. We're here. Let's pause it back. All right. Okay. We're good. Okay. This is Radio Busto. Thank you all for being here. All right. So this is the Kumyania. Kumyania. I'd like to I would like to get someone who actually like has a legitimate like Italian accent to say that, and I'll record it and then play it, just hit it like the button. Kumyania. Italy, right? Okay, so this is VLF monitoring for earthquakes, and that's what you're seeing here. This is seismic, all right? This is seismic. It's telling you right here, channel 1, the seismic monitor. That's what the geophone is. The geo is Earth, phone is, hello, this is your Earth. We're getting ready to, have an earthquake and some volcano shit, ring ring. That's the Earth phone. It's more or less kind of what that boils down to. It's 30 hertz range, low frequency. Okay, and you see that right here, 0 up to 30. This is the spectro for the seismospectro, seismogram spectrometer. All right. And so you see the signatures, right? Like Mary Greeley, she does those. She has those. She is good explaining what those are, what the but those are different spec uh spectrum and analyzer, spectrolyzer, spectrometer. Thank you. So we're looking at the 0 to 105, right? This you see the Schumann resonance is here. Bang, 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 bang. Okay, they're arrow straight. See that? They're not peaking, they're not spiking. However, right, you see this channel here? This is the electric channel. And they're giving you the meter right there. Okay, see, that's where the power is. That's what these colors represent. So if you're over, like 75, negative 75 decibels, right? And you got to remember, this is the nano scale. This is different, right? It's not the pico scale of the Schumann resonances, right? And you got to remember that. Please do. Right? That's why the picture here is not as strong as the one from Tomsk because it's 1,000, the next scale up, the nano scale. You gotta just remember that. Please do remember that. It's a different band than the dedicated Schumann resonances. So that's what they're telling you. Channel 1 is the seismic, channel 2 is the electric field, and so that's all this right here is the electric field. Right? So these two go together. This one's a seismic meter, seismograph, and this is giving you the intensity of it. One's a spectrogram, and the other is the intensity. The two, there's a lot of times 2 or more graphs that are dependencies behind a spectrogram image. Got to remember that. 2 or 3 or 4 or more, right, depending on what they're doing. All right, so there's there's the best way to tell if there's incoming solar is a lot of times from the earthquake activity. You look at this is Kumiania. And so it's telling you that's what that they're telling you that's what that is. And they have this, they monitor this for the seismic, for earthquake activity. You got to remember that. That's why they have this. That's why they do this for earthquake activity so that they can be forearmed as forewarned, okay? And this is the 1500 scale, and this is the 15,000 hertz scale, all right? These are not Schumann resonance scales because the Schumann resonance are lower, way lower than this, all right? All right, so I had this up for a while and then it changed. All right, so this right here is Earth, all right? And so you see just a glancing blow on the, right there, on the 13th, like it's showing. So it's coming up. But it's gonna, a glancing blow. It may show up on the Schumann resonances, but it would show up. See, those are the kind of things that show up at night. See, it's on the side. So when things like that, you see the very edge of the green would pass the edge of the green here. When you see it goes by, boom, it's green. So like at the nighttime, whatever Tomsk may, I don't know. There's no way of knowing at that point where Tomsk will be if it's day or nighttime. But a lot of times, what happens is those side swiping things will hit Tomsk at night when it should be sleeping, and that's how you get that activity is at night. One of the ways when the ionosphere tightens up. Um. All right. So. All right. So. We talked about the whiteout conditions of it, that it's strong. That's what you're seeing is this rise in the white mode activity, and behind it is the yellow mode, and then there's the red, and then the green supporting it. And you can see around it, fringed around it, are the yellow and red, orange. You always see it, the red, and then around that is green. All right. This is a very typical color pattern. The white, and then around it is the orange and rust color, and then the green with a halo of green around it. That's just the typical pattern from. That's what we extract from this and from that. All right, just that's the traditionally that's what you see. That's what I see. That's what I have seen. That's no different. All right. So uh so the the whiteout is the spectrogram plotting up the strongest signal in front of it, which is this right here, the white and the yellow combination. So there's a mistake on the real side, the reality side that people make of believing that, the this plotted white band here is a incoming white light or a ascension or some high frequency bandwidth energy, when that's not what that's reporting. That's not what that's showing you, because again, it doesn't have that the antennas don't have the capacity to measure that, to detect it, to measure it, to give you a proper anything on that. So it's not picking that up. It's not detecting that. It's not showing you that. That's not in the spectrogram isn't making up a signal in there. The spectrogram doesn't detect anything. So you're only looking at what's here, right? And you see that it's upright because there's a lot of upright activity and not much of the harmonics of the quality behind it to offset it, right? But that is still there. And so you look at how right here, this band, horizontal band, is the Schumann resonance, right? It's a Schumann resonance. This is amplitude. It's not the Schumann resonance, right? So can you see that this is not Schumann resonances, but this is the amplitude? That's what you're looking at here. This is a big burst of amplitude, and not a Schumann resonance that's rising, right? I mean, and you see it starts at 2, all right, like down almost to nothing, almost at the baseline, right? It's 2, it's 2, it's all starting from 2, right? So um so these are strong numbers. 56 is the top there, 23, that's roughly half of that. And then not quite half of that, a top number of 15, uh, you know, 12, right here, 9, 10. Right here, the red. All right. So um right. So I think that explains enough on the topic. That explains, I think that kind of wraps up all of that. This is the current report. I'm ending with the most current, I even, what do you call it? Even refreshed it So you'd have it. I'm giving you, ending with the most current uh, conditions. Or I showed you the sun thing went by, um, the space weather, the ISWA, the and little spiral. Went through that, good, bad, or otherwise. Showed you the data, earthquake data from Komiania. Went through that. We're at almost 3 hours, right? So this is what we've done. This is a summary. Yeah, this is a summary. We saw that there is earthquake activity. We showed you the latest Schumann Resonance spectrogram. Um, and I think that one last item that I'm going to talk about relative to this particular spike, because it's something that someone had brought up, and it's not something that I would have myself associated it with. Okay, so the one last issue I got to bring up, and then close out this video, is talking about other, like, this wasn't something I had brought up, and I never talk about this relative to the Schumann resonances, because honestly, I don't have that much enough specific information from the CERN folks and from my guides to speak knowledgeably about what all it's doing. But they tell me that relative to the powered scale, it's like, again, AM to FM, like, it's not, even though it's a strong, powerful field that they're using, it's likely that it's not picking up on the Schumann resonances, because, see, here's the thing, they run these experiments for weeks. It's the first problem. So, and additionally, like, this is the latest thing from CERN themselves. Whoop, sorry. This is from CERN. Doing this. Oh, please. There's no voice there. Am I not hearing a voice? Oh, please. System processing. Please wait. All right, we got creepy music on.
You call me a saint, but you know I'm a stranger, all willing and able to do what you want. You think I'm a thinker, but I'm just a singer, all busy and pretty, just making believe. Boy, I'm falling, I'm falling, I'm falling, I'm falling, I'm falling down to obscurity. Don't let me ever be this alone. I'm falling, I'm falling, I'm falling, I'm falling, I'm falling. Shouldn't be trusting me, I could be making it all up.
During the upgrades of the LA facility. Doesn't give me any dates on this. Researchers are now ready for LHC run.
You don't know, I am fading unfelt.
All right, there we go. Oh, please,
you call me a saint, but you know I'm a stranger.
Okay, all right. So this is from the CERN YouTube channel. Right, this just, whenever anyone can, I subscribed and I hit the bell so I get notifications from them. I think I may have commented. I don't know. I'm leery about commenting over there, but I will watch the videos. So this is just really quick. So relative to what CERN is putting out, this is from April 25th. Okay, so around the time of that, doing the video, right, April 25th, you see they set a new record, world record of energy at 6.8 tera electron volts. Okay, so it says in the description, today the two LHC pilot beams of protons were accelerated for the first time to the record energy of 6.8 tera electron volt per beam. After restarting LHC, this operation is part of the activities to recommission the machine in preparation for LHC Run 3, planned for the summer, aiming at 13.6 tera electron volts this year. All right, so they're going to be running again in the summer. So around the time that of blah blah blah, around the time of this, so like, oh yeah, all right, so you can see the 25th, where am I? It says the 25th. So here we are. So the 25th, do we see anything on the 25th? All right. What is that? Yeah, 18. All right. So there's your spike. So yes, sure. That's what, like, okay, that's what the LHC, what they're saying on the 25th. All right. So on the 25th, right there, April 25th. So according to them, that's what you saw, a spike up to 18, right? I don't think I don't think they're, I don't think the two are working together. Not the way people think. This is tera electron volts. So let me give you the scale of volt, right? That's one volt. Okay. And then you have a kilovolt is 1,000. A megavolt is 1,000,000. Gigavolt is 1,000,000,000. And a tera, next one up, is quadrillion. Right? That's this like opposite scale of, going the opposite way of, the pico electron volts of the Schumann resonances. So this is a quadrillion times a quadrillion times stronger than the Schumann resonances. Okay? Wrap your head around that. Quadrillion times quadrillion is a lot. That's a lot. And then at the end of the day, there's still more to that than you can count, right? So I just wanted to mention that as far as the Schumann resonances, that's relative to, not matching up pound for pound. All right. So that's what the day that happened. I'll leave that up there. I'll leave this up here for you to see for yourself what happened on, with the Schumann resonances on the day that they started up CERN, right? So I think it's important to know that the day we're just going by what they say, right? Like, I couldn't know any better. I couldn't know any different, but that's what happened with the amplitude on that day. So no, they're not. They don't work that way. All right. So on that cheery note, we are playing music for a little while, at least 6 minutes. I don't know. Let's get into it.
your mind, your body, and your soul. Jack, 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 Jack. Well, you know. Oh. You know. Oh, yeah. Yourself, 'cause it's only you, man. It's a one-man sport. There is no team. Nobody's run around and money clicks and all this extra shit. Look at me and look at us. That's not the game. You don't have to have the strongest muscles in the world to know what you gotta have, man. This. Your mind, your body, and your soul, Jack. Well, you know. Oh. You know.
This is a really good mix. All right, so I'm gonna play it till like 2:02, 2 hours, 2 minutes, and 2 seconds if I can, and 2 frames if possible. So thank y'all for being here. Much love. Namaste. Enjoy the beats. Aaron loves you as well.